Donna, yes. All right. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I'm Angela Jordan Perry, and my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And tonight we have a special guest. We have TaShauna Spurgeon, and I am turned up for this evening's interview. We did it. Technical issues and all, but hey, we are here. TaShauna, are you ready to make it happen, girl?
I am ready, ready, ready.
Yay! All right. Well, TaShauna Spurgeon moved to Greenville, South Carolina after graduating from the University of Maryland, College Park. Go Terps! She has been Dari's wife for 11 years and Garrison and Evan's mom for 9 years. TaShauna is a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife, and is in her second year of homeschooling. Now, TaShauna, I have just shared just a little bit about you, just a small, brief bio. Please tell us more about yourself and how you actually got started in homeschooling.
Well, I am glad to be on tonight. Thank you. As you said, I moved here to Greenville about 16 years ago. From the DC area. I grew up in northeastern North Carolina, very small area, very small town in North Carolina. Moved to Maryland for college, got a degree in chemical engineering. Then I moved down to South Carolina 16 years ago, and I've been here ever since. I met my husband here. We've been married, as you said, for 11 years. And our sons just turned 9 in October. We actually started homeschooling, as you said, 2 years ago. I know a lot of people kind of have this warm and fuzzy story about homeschooling, how they always plan to homeschool. They discussed it with their husband prior to getting married, all of that stuff. That was not my story at all. My sons were diagnosed with autism 5 years ago. And as a result, they were placed in self-contained classes for K3, K4, and then in kindergarten and first grade.
Okay.
And my fear was always that they would be stuck in these classes, not really realizing their full potential and things like that. And so, I reluctantly agreed to allow them to be in the self-contained classes. And I said at the time when they were in preschool or K3, K4, I said, we'll see how it goes. If at kindergarten, their plan is to continue to keep them in these classes, then I'll just pull them out and homeschool. And I had completely forgotten about that, But then by the time they got in the first grade, Evan just kind of seemed like he just wasn't really necessarily picking up everything in school. It seemed like he needed a lot of, I don't know, it was almost like he just looked for, looked for reassurance, like with everything. So if you say, what is 1 + 1, he'll guess and just wait for you to say, shake your head. He did the same thing with reading. And I just kind of felt like he needed one-on-one attention, that he needed just something different. And so initially my plan was to homeschool Evan and leave Garrison in public school. But by first grade, Garrison started having behavior issues. And I mean, I was at school almost every single day for quite a while. My husband's joke was, did you submit your timesheet? Because I was at school so much. And so the plan was to only homeschool Evan. Garrison started having these behavior issues. And then, of course, that led to them wanting to put him not just in a regular developmental delay self-contained classroom, but they wanted to put him in a behavior classroom with other kids with behaviors. And my challenge with that was Garrison mimics other kids. And so I was afraid that he was going to pick up even more behaviors that we didn't want to see.
Gotcha.
Sorry, long story short, I tried to talk myself out of it for about 18 months, talked myself out of homeschooling. And over the summer, before they were supposed to start second grade, we started having challenges just trying to get the school system to meet with us to come up with another placement for Garrison. And one day I just talked to my husband. I was on the phone, just completely frustrated. And he said, well, T, you've been talking about homeschooling. Why don't you do that? And I called the school system and said, well, let me know what I need to do to go about pulling them out. And that was 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago. Now we're in our second year.
Wow. Okay. So tell us, okay, when you started, boom, you're in it.
Yep.
How did the first year go? How did it go?
It went better than I expected. As I said, I tried to talk myself out of it for about 18 months because I did not think that I could homeschool them. I was nervous about everything. Am I going to teach them the right things? Am I going to be patient enough? Am I just going to completely ruin their lives? So I was really nervous and afraid, but it did go much better than I expected. I think my first year, I kind of tried to ease my way into it. We stepped back a lot just to make sure that they had the basics. So we did basically a repeat of kindergarten and first grade. And I think the biggest thing, one of the things that I had to learn was that I did not have to set up my school day as they do in public school. So that was one of my challenges early on. I also had to teach myself that it's okay to step back, take a break, take 10 minutes to learn math, 15 minutes. I don't have to sit for an hour straight and try to teach them math. So once I figured that out, it really started going well.
Beautiful.
Prior
beautiful.
to that, there were a lot of tears.
Oh, tears from you or tears from them?
From both.
Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. So when you brought them home from homeschooling, for homeschooling, you said that, they were in these special self-contained, classes where they, have special needs. So they need to be in this class. Did you find that their learning at home mirrored what you were told from the public school?
Not necessarily. I think that again, this was kind of my fear with public school. I felt that they were not pushing the boys to their highest potential. So I think that they gave me a lot of encouragement. I won't say false encouragement, but they always set their goals low and made sure that they met their goals, which was good because it gave them success. But at the same time, I felt like, okay, these goals are too low in the first place. Let's bump it up some. So I don't think that they misled me or lied to me or anything about what they were able to do academically. I think that I expected more from them, and I saw that as a result of homeschooling.
Gotcha. So you set up maybe a higher expectation. Maybe
Yes.
Was it because they were your kids or because you just knew their academic abilities? What caused you to do that, to set a higher expectation for them?
Just because I knew that they could do it. I think, especially with Garrison, the boys are on different levels, of course. You'll see that with any children, but particularly with Garrison, a lot of times when they would test him or talk to him, if you don't know that he knows something, you would think that he didn't know anything because that's just how he acts. And so I knew that he already knew certain things. I knew what he was capable of. And I guess just being mom, I wanted him to reach that.
Gotcha.
Strive for that, or always strive for that.
Now, since you have experienced that in 2 years, you know your kids, just like what you described. You know them, you know what they're able to learn. You know when they're trying to trick you and get over on you because you know they really know. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, do you think that the public school environment would be good for them unless they fall back into that? Or is there any benefit? You can be honest if you don't know. That's fine. But do you feel like that would be a place for your boys because you know them, you know what they're able to do and learn and achieve?
Yeah, I honestly think, ideally, I honestly would love for the boys to be in public school. But I do not think that's the right environment for them. I know that once we started homeschooling, just last weekend, I went home to visit my family in North Carolina. And every single time I go home, my family is just amazed at the progress of the boys, how well they're doing now compared to a year ago, compared to 2 years ago, compared to 4 years ago, 5 years ago when they were first diagnosed. And so I know that this environment is best for them. I know that Evan, in the past, I don't know how he would react now, but he had issues that kind of mirrored anxiety, I guess. Garrison is very active, very all boy, as my mom likes to say. And so I just don't think that the school necessarily could accommodate their needs. So when Garrison needs a break, I know that we can take a break. I don't think the school would be able to do that, especially in a traditional like general ed class where they have 20, 30 students. And the same with Evan. I could easily see him getting overwhelmed with so many students and a 8-hour, 6-hour school day, things like that. So if that answers your question.
Yes, that's really good. I'm a Option 3 Homeschool Association director here in the state. And one of the things I have seen happen over these last years is just an influx of more and more and more families pulling their children, children with special needs or diagnosed with special needs or in these self-contained classes or whatever label they have given these children, and to bring them home because, one, they feel like they're failing their children. One, either they're not, like you mentioned, I hear these stories over and over. One, either they're not helping them to go beyond their potential. They're setting this bar here is low, and if they make it, great, they made it, woo! But the bar is so low that yes, they can make that. So there's no challenge. One, two is keeping them in this kind of box, or I've seen 3 where they're not getting the help that they need at all. 4, they're in a corner and they're just sit there all day when the parents are telling me, Angela, I could do that for my kids. Why am I giving that to them? So I'm seeing that while public school has this resource for them, and and this is not 100% across the board, but I'm seeing more and more and more homeschoolers saying, no, I can do better for myself. I'm going to give it a go with my kids and see what I can do. And on a lot of sides, they're doing what you're saying. They're pulling out the nuggets in them that's hidden away that teachers don't have time to pull out, or patience to pull out, or enough time to devote to them to pull out, right? So I hear your story so much. And but while it blessed me to hear you say, hey, I would love for them to be in public school, but I know I'm going to give my kids or help them to get to where they need to be academically because I know them.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know Garrison Evan, sweethearts. I miss him so much, and I love him dearly. And I just see the progress. It's just different. So I'm glad you spoke to these moms and dads who are homeschooled. Now, one thing I should say to the moms and dads who may be not homeschooling but have special needs children, but I would love for you to speak to the fear aspect. Mm-hmm. How did you get over the fear? I know there's a level of fear that's put there because I believe, and you tell me if this is true or not, when you have these special children with special needs, it's this fear that the public school knows what's best.
Right.
And they've got the resources and you don't. Like they have the goods and you don't. So trust us. How do you deal with that fear? Is that a real fear? How do you deal with it? How do you get over it, TaShauna?
It is definitely a real fear. I think, like I said, one of my biggest fears when we got started was, am I going to mess them up? And am I going to be able to teach them? As I said, my degree is in engineering. Math came very easily for me. I do not know how to teach math to them because I kind of have this thing where, what do you mean you don't know 2 + 2? It's just 2 + 2 is 4. It's automatic. So I had fears like that, like how well can I teach them on their level or so that they will understand what they need to know. I had fears. I remember talking to their teacher about homeschooling, and her main thing, as is the case with a lot of kids with autism, their first thing is they struggle with socializing. And so they need to be around other kids in order to socialize. And so I think that my thing has always been kind of attack the fear head on. So if I know that socializing is one of the things that they need, that they would not typically get at home, surround them around with other kids. We joined a co-op for the first 1.5 years. We have friends that we try to set up play dates with, other homeschooling families that we try to set play dates with at least once a month. We try to do field trips with them once a month, at least once a month. So things like that. So whatever the need is, I try to find things to fill those needs. With the fear of not being able to teach them, you know, you find the curricula that will curricula that will work for them. And of course, just be open to change. So if I see that this particular curriculum isn't working, then okay, let's switch it up and find something that's a little more appropriate or that's going to work a little better. And so that's the case or the situation with all of my fears with them. What is it that I fear the most, and how can I get what they need?
I like that. Guys, gals, girlfriends, we are with TaShauna Spurgeon out of South Carolina. She is homeschool mom of two sweet little boys, 9-year-old twin boys with some special needs, but she is plowing through it beautifully as a homeschool mom. So let's unpack this. If you're here, be sure to share this with other viewers. Just connect with that link and get it out there so others can hear TaShauna's story as well. So TaShauna, let's just dive in a little bit deeper on this subject of homeschooling your children with your special needs. You said that you know, if there's a place of fear, you try to attack it and make figure out what's needed and make that change. So now your second year, do you feel like you have a grasp on things, or is there still some changes to go? Do you need other outside resources? Are you using other outside resources to homeschool? What does this homeschooling look like for you?
Well, yes, I think that I definitely, no, I do not have a grasp on it completely. I don't know if I ever will, but I am adjusting. So one of the things that I noticed with myself is I tend to overschedule, and I always do that. Honestly, from the moment we started homeschooling, well, even before that, I tend to overschedule. And so that's one of the things that I could really do better about. And so, I do use outside resources. I know last year, while I was trying to get my feet wet, I did not teach science at all here at home during our homeschool day. I did not teach geography or history or social studies. We got that from co-op, and then I would kind of supplement with that. Well, not supplement, but just, reinforce it or talk to them about what they learned and do little projects and stuff like that at home. With the boys being diagnosed with autism, they receive therapy almost every single day for a couple of hours. And so that it's good and it helps. But at the same time, I feel like I'm always running. So one of the things that they do with ABA therapy is they supplement what we're learning at home. So I can send worksheets. I can let them know this is what we're working on, and they will help reinforce that or reiterate or kind of tutor or whatever you want to call it. And so I use those as well, that as a resource as well.
Okay. So are your boys still, are you all still connected to the public school side of help, or is this private?
No, that's private. I know that through the school system, at least in Greenville County, I believe in South Carolina altogether, we are entitled to receive speech and occupational therapies and other services that the school system offers to their students. But we decided not to do that this year. But we do receive speech and OT privately, completely outside of the school system.
Okay. Okay.
And then ABA is completely separate as well.
Say it again.
I said an ABA is completely separate as well. That's a separate therapy.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Let's dive a little bit deeper here. So now you've only been homeschooling 2 years. Take us to, if you can think of, by far was your worst homeschooling day. I mean, it was so bad. You thought, even though you feel like you're the best available advocacy for your kids, of course, for your boys, and that they're going to do great with you homeschooling. But this was like the worst day you were willing to send them back to public school. You were over it.
You mean every day? Just kidding. Just kidding. We don't have a whole lot of bad days. Early on, we would have days, like I said, because one, I was overscheduling, and I think our worst days come as a result of me trying to rush through. And so one of the challenges that I had, because again, the boys receive therapy just about every single day. Right now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. At one point, it was throughout the whole week. And so one of the challenges was they would have therapy, but I would still have to school for that day. And so I'm trying to fit in math before we go to therapy. I'm trying to fit in our reading before we go to a doctor's appointment, or whatever the situation is. I would have something during the day that would disrupt our day, but I was still trying to school. And it never failed when I had that, and I'm trying to fit schooling in like 30 minutes before this appointment. The boys would completely shut down. It was just difficult. Like, I'm trying to plow through it, trying to get through it. Hey, baby, trying to get through it. And they just are not cooperating at all. And again, it would lead to tears, theirs and mine. And so what I learned was to try to structure my day so that our therapies, you remember Mrs. Perry? Sorry, they just walked in. But what I started doing was I started scheduling our therapies for afternoons, so that would give us our mornings to school. I changed our school year so that we were schooling typically Monday through Thursday and leave Fridays for appointments. And then I don't do this all the time, but as necessary, I will throw in reading and math on Saturday, or throw it in at the end of the day if necessary. But ideally, I would try to get our schooling done early in the morning, and then have our afternoons set aside for our therapies and things like that, and then have Fridays set aside for our doctor's appointments, because the most difficult thing was having something interrupt our day, our school day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now take us to what has been the most successful day that you can think of in your homeschooling, the most successful that was like, okay, you know what? This right here is worth it. 1,000 tears right here is worth it. Take us to that day.
Truthfully, it's so simple. Evan struggled so much understanding the concept of adding zero. I do not know why he did not get this plus zero at all. And he would get frustrated. And I just remember the day that light bulb came on for him when he actually got it. And that was truthfully the best. Sorry, my husband just walked in as well. But that was the best day. And I think that's kind of the situation with everything, just seeing them get it. But that one sticks out just because it was such an easy concept to me. And when it finally clicked for him and he got really excited about, I don't know, it stays like that, moments like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And I just something that small, but if you've been working on it for a long time, it's like,
yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, one of the things that most homeschooling families, deal with, and really families in general, the need for 2 income households. Now, you said that you're a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom, and you've been doing that for a number of years. Share with us some insights on how your family is making it. What income? What is the caveat? What is? Give us some encouragement and insights for these homeschooling moms who may be considering homeschooling, but it's just like, no, we need 2 incomes. What's your words?
I don't necessarily have any words. I think our main thing is just budgeting. We talk about everything. If we need to spend for school. You know, my husband is very, I don't have to pinch pennies when it comes to purchasing things for school. I'm sure he would like for me to pinch pennies in other areas, but but really, I think it's just, the main thing is just budgeting, making sure that we're spending less than we bring in, trying to find things. We've done, what do you call it? We've done used book sales. We've done curriculum sales. I use the store here in Greenville that's a used curriculum bookstore. I use that a lot, use things online, use the library. Those are just ways that I kind of try to control the spending with homeschooling. But I honestly, I'm fortunate and blessed in that I don't have to necessarily look for outside means of income. Prior to homeschooling, I did, but now, you know, we're in a different situation where, you know, it's just a matter of us budgeting and planning ahead and things like that.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Let me ask you this one thing. In regards to curriculum, as you're homeschooling, this is, by the way, you all girlfriends, this is TaShauna Spurgeon. She's homeschooling twin boys, sweet boys, with some learning challenges, but she's getting it done. So TaShauna, tell us, is there a difference in the curriculum? Are there special curriculum books that you have to get for children with special needs, or how are you choosing what curriculum? How did you know? What are you using? What is working?
Well, I don't know of any special curricula, but what I've done with the boys, because I know that they're hands-on learners, I've tried to do things that allow them to learn hands-on. The main thing that I use is Matthew C. That was because again, I was afraid of whether or not I could teach them math. And so that was the main thing that I really needed, was just an easy way to teach them math. And Matthew C has been that for us so far. It's worked. I try, not as often as I would like to, but I do try to be a little creative with their learning. I remember when I was teaching them how to read and do sight words, we used the exercise ball. And, you know, I allow Garrison as a leader, so he likes to teach. So I allow him to kind of help teach Evan sometimes, but I use the exercise ball. And, you know, that's one of the benefits of having twins. They're learning together, and we kind of made a basketball game sort of out of it. So I would roll them on the ball, that pressure and things like that. That's stuff that we picked up from occupational therapy. So doing things like that to be creative. For a while, when it's nicer outside, we will go outside to learn, you know, kind of moving around, running, just burning energy. So doing things like that. But for curriculum, I really just kind of go with different things. I do a lot of worksheets now, some stuff online, but I try to limit screen time. But our main curriculum that we're using is really just Matthew C. Everything else is just from workbooks and things like that. Okay.
Are they on the same level? Are you teaching them on the same level, or can you say they're like different grades? What is that like?
It depends. With reading, they're kind of on similar levels, but that's one of the things that I think I messed up with last year. I tried to keep them on the same level with math, but I found that I was hindering Garrison some. And so this year I've started letting him be Garrison, let him fly at his own pace, and just take my time more with Evan as I need to.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, here we go. We're at the point of our show where I have some quick questions just to pick your brain so you can give quick answers to these. Okay. What is your favorite quote, TaShauna, that helps you through this homeschooling journey?
Favorite quote? My absolute favorite that I say every single day is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. When we started homeschooling, we had to, of course, choose a school name. And so one of the we have two quotes or two mottos, I guess, so to speak, for that. So my school name is Reach Up Prep School, and UP stands for Uncapped Potential and Unlimited Possibilities. So every day I'm trying to remind the boys that we are reaching for our uncapped potential and unlimited possibilities. And so our motto is one from my middle school graduation, and it says, no star is set too high for the one who dares to reach for it. And then our scripture that I use to go with that is, eye has not seen nor ear heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man, the things that God has planned for them who love him. And I probably butchered the scripture, but that's the other one that I like to use.
And what is the name of your school? Reach, what is it?
Reach Up Prep School. So Reach U period P period Prep School.
Gotcha. Yes, got it. Uncapped potential, unlimited possibilities. I love that. That's great. That's great. And I spoke before, your words have power. So if that is your mantra, to continue to speak and speak and speak, that's life that's being formed just by your words into your heart, the kids of your heart, hearts of your kids, your boys. So yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What is your, do you plan to homeschool all the way through high school with your boys?
That is my goal. Ideally, if everything lines up, then yes, that is the plan.
Beautiful. What is something unique that you do or implement in your homeschool that you're like, wow, this is what I thought of?
Unique. I don't know. I think probably, like I said, that I can be a little creative. Again, I don't do it often enough, but just realizing that the boys like or need that physical type activity, and they learn best like that. So things like that. So I remember when we were learning our nouns and verbs, I don't know if you guys did this in school, but do you know what suicides are? Like where you run from one side of the gym to the other and you kind of touch the floor and then you have to run half court. Yeah, so we did something like that where they would find these cards and then they had to, find the nouns and then take it and place it behind the, basically just sorting. So they would find the nouns, sort those and find the verbs and things like that. So I try to do things like that, trying to find creative ways for them to learn that will allow them to get energy out at the same time. Maybe that's unique.
Okay. What curriculum, now you've mentioned math, but what other curriculum or book do you have in your library that's, your homeschool library that you feel every homeschool home should have, or every homeschool family that has special needs children should have?
I don't know. I know I read a lot when I was preparing to homeschool, but I really don't pull up a lot of books now. I have a habit of starting books and not finishing them. But when I started homeschooling, of course, I read Your First Year in Homeschooling. I remember going to the homeschool convention, and there was a speaker there, Heidi St. John, that I really loved. I picked up one of her books that I started but did not finish, but I picked up a couple of her books. One of them dealt with kind of basically teaching you how to continue to be a wife and a mom, not just being a homeschool mom, not just being the teacher. So that was good. And then the other was just kind of helping you learn how to manage your day, like time management techniques and things like that.
Okay. And what is the best piece of advice you have received during this homeschooling journey?
Best piece of advice? Probably not to give up.
Okay. And what is your favorite resource or tool or online resource that you use within your homeschooling, your homeschool day, or homeschool in general?
Really, I get a lot of material from Teachers Pay Teachers. I use education.com a lot to find worksheets and things like that. I am a member of a couple of Facebook groups for homeschoolers. One connected me with my biggest support system ever. So I use that. I also use it like I don't use it often, but you know, if I have questions looking for curriculum or looking for suggestions on how to teach a concept, that's a great place to go. It's the African American Homeschool Moms group. So I use that. I've also joined another group it's a co-op. So basically like you have a collaborative, I guess, of people who purchase curriculum and they get it at a discount. So I use that as well.
Okay. All right. Well, here is the last question, TaShauna, the $1 million question. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. If you had to start all over again from the very beginning, like day one of your homeschooling, but you still have your current knowledge, wisdoms, and skills and insights, what would you change or implement this fresh go around?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned was that it's okay for the boys to go at different paces. And so I think that would probably be what I would implement. I would not try to hold Garrison back just so that he's on the same level as Evan, or so that I'm teaching them at the same pace as the other. I think that's probably the main thing that I would change. That and do not overschedule.
Okay. Now, any last words of advice, TaShauna, and share how those who are viewing this on replay or currently can reach out to you if they have more questions about homeschooling special needs, and then just let us know what you have going on or any business or your hands where you're reaching out to the community where you want other homeschool moms to know about it.
Well, if you want to reach out to me, I am on Facebook at TaShauna Garner Spurgeon. That's TaShauna Garner Spurgeon, Spurgeon. So you can inbox me or send me a friend request or anything like that. You can also email me at spurgeoninc@gmail.com. And again, it's my last name, SPURGEONINC, like incorporated, @gmail.com. Those are the best ways to reach me. And I think that as I said, I don't do like any type of business or anything. I kind of support my husband in his business, which is insurance. But one of the things that I have learned since I started homeschooling is to have that support, have a support system. And so one thing that I've done locally is try to reach out to other homeschooling moms, just so that they will have an outlet. Because I believe that we constantly get caught. I believe that we get so caught up in being a wife and mom that we forget to take time for ourselves. And so I think that would be my one piece of advice, is to find a support group. If there isn't one, create one, but make sure that you have someone that you can reach out to, someone who can encourage you, not just on your homeschooling journey, but in motherhood, period, or just in being yourself. I'm really big on self-care, taking care of yourself. I remember, as I mentioned, Heidi St. John, I remember at my first homeschool convention, one of the things she said is you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so I'm really big on self-care, taking care of yourself, and making sure that you are able, your best you, so that you can give your best to your children and to your spouse. That's all I have.
Well, Girlfriends is Guide to Homeschooling. You are the average sum of the 5 people you hang around, and you've been hanging with TaShauna Spurgeon. So keep up the momentum and connect with other homeschoolers of value. Just like TaShauna said, reach out and grab your village, connect with those people, and give yourself self-care. And just remember, be sure to go to our Facebook page for Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, follow and share, and get other homeschooling families connected, other girlfriends who also need this encouragement. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. And just remember, to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. Day after day, year after year, we're making a positive impact. So TaShauna, Girlfriends Guide to Homeschool, is so grateful to you, and we appreciate you for taking your time to give of yourself and to make a positive impact on this homeschooling community of thousands of homeschooling families across the world. So thank you so much, TaShauna. God bless you. And girlfriends, hope you found this very informative, encouraging. I'll put up the show notes and all that information that TaShauna has shared and the resources she mentioned. So again, go out there and make a positive impact on other homeschooling families that you come in contact with. So thank you again. God bless you. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Thank you, TaShauna. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.